Hey guys, it's Lily. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Today, I have another spiritual advice video because I've just really been enjoying talking to you guys. I've been getting a lot of more comments because usually my videos get one comment or none, but a lot of these videos of my sit down talking videos have been getting a lot more comments and views, and you guys just want more. So instead of giving you what you don't want, I'm going to give you what you do want. So today is going to be about how to prepare for your future husband or wife. I just want to clarify, okay? I'm not married, but there might be a lot of controversy between the subject of well, you're not married, so you don't know if you should be married to this person, and you're too young, or blah 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 blah. Okay, as a Christian, I believe that you can know who your husband is because of things God has shown you and revealed to you, and the peace that you have and all this kind of stuff. I firmly believe that Jack is my husband. By the way, if you don't know who that is, it's my boyfriend. He's been in my channel before. You have to go back some videos and look at our videos together. Yeah, so I believe that he is my husband, but we are not married. So, with that being said, I'm going to talk about how to prepare for a husband because I'm still preparing. Let's get started. The first point I have is that you have to work on yourself first. This is something that I really struggled with. So if you haven't seen my last video, I talked about my whole experience last year and what happened. What I shared with you is that all throughout growing up, I always felt like I needed a boy to make me feel loved, and I filled that void with boys instead of with God because I didn't know God growing up. And then once I found God, I was like, oh my gosh, but then I still filled that void with boys. So I think one of the main things is that you have to work on yourself. You have to love yourself. I think that is the main thing, is that if you don't love yourself, how can you expect anyone else to love you? And I know people say that all the time, but it's true. If you don't love yourself, that's going to bring so many different aspects into your relationship, and it's not going to be good. So for example, if you don't think you're pretty, you're always going to want confirmation from your significant other that you're pretty. So you're always going to be asking am I pretty? You don't think I'm pretty? Or they say you look pretty, and you're no, I don't. I really struggle with that. I haven't had super low self-confidence, but I mean every girl struggles with self-confidence. But if you know that you're worthy, that you're beautiful, that you're loved, you don't need a guy to tell you that. And so when you do find that person, you will know that you're beautiful. And if they don't treat you as such, or if they don't tell that to you, then you know they're not the one, because they should make you feel beautiful even though you already know that. Also, with working on yourself first, you also have to remember that the other person is always going to fall short. They're always going to mess up, not do something that you like or whatever, and you're going to have to forgive them. And if there's people in your life that you haven't forgiven, or there's things in your life that has been building up in your life and you haven't let that go, you're going to bring that into a relationship and it's going to be a disaster. So you want to make sure that you are starting out your relationship with a clean heart, a clean spirit. And that doesn't mean that obviously stuff that you've done in the past is just immediately gone and that never even happened. But you want to forgive yourself of past stuff, and you want to forgive other people from past stuff, because bringing that stuff into a relationship and thinking that someone else can fix that for you is not a good idea. It's not what's going to help the relationship. It's just going to harm it, and you're going to find yourself in a really bad situation. If you guys have watched me before on my channel, you know that I'm a Christian, and my videos are based around my faith and my beliefs. So if you're not a Christian, that's totally okay. You can still watch this video. A lot of what I talk about is going to be biblically based, or talking about faith or Christianity or whatever. So another thing that also goes with working on yourself first is working on your relationship with God. And that is kind of an overall theme for the next point, But just knowing where you stand, knowing what you believe and what you firmly believe is going to be super important for knowing who your other person is, because what you believe, what you firmly believe, that's not going to waver. And when someone else comes along, if someone comes along and wants you to believe in something different or tries to persuade you or something like that, you're going to know it's wrong and you're going to run, because you don't want someone who's going to be unequally yoked or someone who's not on the same page as you, not on the same level. All right, and like the next thing that goes along with that is pray. As I said before, as you may know, I didn't grow up a Christian, so I didn't really pray until like I became a Christian, obviously. I just remember when I was little, I would pray a little bit to God, but like it wasn't anything that I thought was actually going to help. I didn't think it was really going to happen. And so I wish, like, when I was younger, I could look back and, like, say that I've been praying for my future husband since I was, like, 10 or something like that. But when I did, commit my life to Christ, then I did start praying for that future husband, but it wasn't anything, like, super serious. I would mainly just write down what I wanted in a person, but I didn't pray for them. So that's something that I didn't really do, but I would suggest you doing, because only until probably the past year before I met Jack, I prayed for my husband in specific details. There's a video that I watched talking all about that, so let me find that paper real quick. All right, it was right in the beginning of my binder here. The video is called How to Pray for Your Future Husband, and there's 10 things to pray for. I'm just going to go over them really quickly, and I'll try to link this video down below if I remember. But number 1 is pray that they can resist temptation, which is like super important, so that they would remain pure and not taking up soul ties, which means like that if they aren't your husband, that you won't get solely attached to them, like living in sexual sin and all that kind of stuff, that won't happen. 2 is pray that they discover their calling/purpose, so know where they're called to, their purpose, and so that when you meet and you get serious about things, you know where they're headed, they know where they're headed, and you have that security. 3 is pray that they have a strong relationship with God and hear God. So I think that's super important, and like that they're in tune with the Holy Spirit, because having a man or a woman that is a Christian but doesn't know the voice of God, doesn't know how to talk to the Holy Spirit, or doesn't know how to listen to the Holy Spirit, that could cause problems. But like for me, I needed someone that is in tune with the Holy Spirit, that can listen to God's voice, that can pray, that knows how to read the Bible, all that kind of stuff. 4 is that they are in line with God's will, no delay, no distraction, that we will cross paths, that they're doing what God's telling them to do and not disobeying, and that they're just on track. 5, that God prepares you for your future spouse, so God works certain traits inside of me to meet the needs of future spouse. Going back to the first point, work on yourself first. Number 6 is freedom in every area of their life, which is what I just said earlier about like working on yourself, making sure that you don't have any unforgiven sin, any unforgiveness in your heart, all that kind of stuff, that you're starting out with a clean, pure slate. 7 is pray for godly community. That is super important. Jack and I were just like put in this community together, and it's just been awesome. And that is like, I'm not even kidding. I think that is probably the most important part, is having a godly community that you can have mentors and people to talk to, and you have pastors or older people to look up to. Super important. And number 8, pray physical and spiritual protection. There's no way Satan can take God's promise from you. So like praying protection over them, even though if you don't know who they are. And 9, pray against confusion and doubt. And that is super important, because when you found the one, your husband, you will not have confusion. You will not have a doubt in your mind. So just pray against that. So like if you end up meeting someone and you have confusion and doubt about them, that you'll know immediately they're not the one, and don't waste your time on them. That's like really important, and I wish I would have learned that sooner. And then 10, pray that they prepare natural and physically, living, job, being the head, finances. So like that they prepare, which is meaning like that they have a job or that they're getting an education, that they are ready to lead, being the head of the house, or the woman being like the woman of the house, all that kind of stuff. Like, that video was super great. She had some great points there. So moving along, after pray, I say that you need to have high standards. And why, you may ask, is because you were bought at a high price, and you do not need anything less than what God has for you. And if you're living in God's will and God's obedience and God's promise, then you'll know when you find your husband or your wife, and you won't have any confusion, and they will treat you the way you should be treated. But you need to have high standards. You cannot settle. The word that God used for me last year was settle. And that's what I was doing the whole year. I just settled. You cannot settle. And in Proverbs 3:15, it says, "She is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her." And you need someone who can treat you that way. If there's anything less than that, you're not with the right person. And then in 1 Corinthians 6:20, it says, "You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies." People compare that verse with like sexual sin, but honor God with your bodies means honoring God with the person you're with. And if you know that you're not with that person, you're not honoring God. And so you need to step away from that and step into God's promise. So if you have any doubt, one little tiny doubt, it's probably not the right person. Also, another huge thing is having mentors and people, other like married couples in your life. Even though you don't have a relationship, you need to have people that you can look up to and to show you the ropes and to pray with you and to tell you what's right, what's wrong, or just their advice. I have some awesome like families in my life that speak into me and like look out for me, and they keep me accountable, so that if you tend to go, or if you're going off a wrong path, or if you're with someone and they see something off, that they will tell you. And that may hurt and sting sometimes, but that is what the Lord is there for. Is sometimes he stings you a little bit, but it's good. And do not settle until you know that you know, which I said before. And then my last thing is that you need to write everything out. I mean, you don't need to, but this really helped me because I'm just a very visual learner and I love writing. I wrote this a long time ago, but I'm going to share it with you. This is a man of Christ. So I wrote this in like high school, and I've written a few of them before, but this was my very first one. Let's read it. Man of Christ. Church is a priority. Youth group is a priority. Hence, writing this in high school. Praying plan. Isn't afraid to pray. Resists any type of sexual temptation, takes notes in church, raises hands during worship, respects mother, holds the door, prays for my things, or pays for my things, prays before meals, doesn't cuss, kind and respectful to all people, adults, kids, people their age, especially girls, doesn't follow or hang out with the crowd, doesn't talk bad about others, seeks God in literally everything. Nobody has to remind him to read the word or pray. He wants God before anything. Run as fast as you can towards God, and if someone is running as fast as you, turn around and introduce yourself. Now, I wrote that in high school, and I did not follow it all the way. I slipped up a few times, but what I've learned is that because I had this in my heart, and because I prayed for it, even though I slipped up and I was with someone that I wasn't supposed to be with, God still put me with a person that has all of these qualities. The funny thing is, I'm not in like high school, so I'm not in youth group anymore, but he is a leader in a youth group, so that's really cool. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something or it was helpful. If so, make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to leave a comment down below of anything you want to see from me, if it's like Christian related, if it's like makeup advice, anything like that. I don't know, just let me know. Well, make sure to follow me on my Instagram. It's Lily_bear with 3 R's. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.